Good afternoon. My name is Damon the Truth Davis. And today, my subject will be unveiling the hidden meaning of Ephesians 6, 5 through 9. My subtitle, The Manipulation Began. Ephesians 6, 5 through 9 starts with this. Slaves, obey your earthly master with respect and fear and with sincerity of heart, just as you would obey Christ. Obey them not only to win their favor when their eyes is on you, but as slaves of Christ doing the will of God from your heart. Serve wholeheartedly as if you were serving the Lord, not people, because you know that the Lord will reward each one for whatever good they do, whether they are slaves or free. And the masters, treat your slaves in the same way. Do not threaten them, since you know that he is both their master and yours is in heaven, and there is no favoritism with him. Now, people, in order to explain this, it's easy just looking at the words exactly what it said. Slaves. Where did slaves get involved with how God had things in order in his word? So the Bible just basically telling that the God in the Bible approved on slavery. Now, it was amazing that slavery did not even become in existence until the 1300s. But now, we supposed to believe that Paul was instructed by God to leave a letter to the Ephesians to say to us, the children of God, that we need to respect our earthly master. Now, as a black man, there's only one master to me, and that's God himself. No other man, no other being, no other subject is over me. And my spirit will not even allow it to happen. Even the president is not above by this thing. If I had to say anything towards him, anything like that, either or, as long as I don't care, that's a job to him. As long as he treat me like a man and respect me like a man, I would do him the same way. So there, I don't see no other man above me in no shape, form, or fashion. The only one that above me is the one that created me, and that's God himself. And I need y'all to look at the situation that if anyone has the spirit of God and know God, this is not of God, not no slave. And masters telling the masters, I mean, what kind of ridiculous letter is this to write anyone? When you supposed to have the all-powerful, omnipotent God by your side. So people read the Bible and understand it. Don't believe what people say, because they leading you down a path of destruction. Everybody that's screaming Jesus don't even realize you actually is serving the devil. Slavery in ancient society was characterized by, now I want you to pay attention to these descriptions, because this is straight out the internet, the dictionary. This is exactly what this is meaning. Chattel slavery. Enslaved people were owned as property and could be subjected to physical violence, sexual exploitation, torture, and death. Now, just for that point, how can you, as an individual, obey a slave master that is treating you under these conditions? How can you even respect that? Here's another word: cruelty. Slaves were often whipped, branded, or cruelly mistreated. Owners could kill slaves for any reason and would face no punishment. Now, black people, who this remind you of? Who does this remind you of? Because I haven't seen any other race besides hearsay go through the treatment that we have seen and visually seen, which they're trying to make us forget, was blacks. You never seen an Indian whipped and put in chains. I haven't seen one. I know they try to replace the Indians with us and try to make that their people, or people that was on their land that looked like European blacks that had red skin. But there also was another race that derived from the original black people that was here, that come from Africa. So yes, there's a big difference. Now here's another thing: pervasiveness. Slavery was a fundamental part of ancient life in the Mediterranean. Now I repeat that: the Mediterranean. The Mediterranean is where Europe is, where European like Rome and Greek, but just in that particular area. It has nothing to do with the African continent when it came to Kemet, Egypt, Kush. But we all know in history that the only thing that ever happened that was detrimental to that country was colonization. Colonizers. People that come into your territory and take your stuff and colonize in your land. This Bible fits the very glove of what they utilize in order to implode themselves onto other people's lives and destroy their civilization and claim it as their own. Now here's another thing: the lack of race-based discrimination. Now this is what they say. Unlike modern slavery, slavery in ancient Rome was not based on race. However, slaves were often foreigners, such as prisoners of war, sailors captured by pirates, and slaves brought outside Roman territory. Now, that statement does not differ from what's going on right now today. Because right now, we are all slaves. Don't make no difference what color you is, where you from, what you believe in. As long as you pay a bill, a tax, anything, you're a slave up under someone else's rulership. We are prisoners of war, captured in America as of today. Now, definition of slavery. Slavery is the ownership of a person as property, especially in regards to their labor. Slavery typically involves compulsory work, with the slave's location of work, resident, dictated by the party that holds them in bondage. Enslavement is the placement of a person into slavery, and the person is called a slave or an enslaved person. Yes. Even though you don't know, but every last one of us got a social security number. You got a birth certificate. You have to have a place of residence. And compulsory, you have to work. Because everybody knows there's nothing free in America or in life. And no matter how much they make it seem like they are all for good, they are not. And each moment is constant lie after lie after lie. I'm going to show you something. Question, did Paul did not exist. Now, Paul is the one that actually wrote that scripture, the Ephesians part. And I'm just giving you a broad aspect of where this particular verse may have come from or derived. But the question is, did Paul did not exist? So someone said in Jewish writings of the first 2 centuries, there is no mention of a rebellious student of Gamaliel named Paul or Saul. It is also very remarkable that the supposed student of Gamaliel, who certainly would have received instruction from him in the original Hebrew text of the Old Testament, cites passages from the Old Testament exclusively from a Greek version, as if in his life he never learned Hebrew. Now that's one side of the coin. Here's another. Is there any evidence that Saul of Tarsus was a real person? Now here's the wordplay. But I want you to listen with this point, because it still makes sense. If Paul did not write the Pauline epistles, then someone else did, who claimed to be Paul. One has to balance the probability there was a historical Paul against the probability that there are later inventions or forgeries. The scholarly consensus is that 7 letters did come from an early member of the Christian community. Now, I just want you to remember the word Christian. Commonly, who was a Jewish background or known as the original disciple of Jesus, who undertook missionary journeys across the Mediterranean and made an important impact on the development of the Gentile Christianity. Now, I want y'all to pay close attention to 2 things. As you know, we stay in the Mediterranean, which anybody that know anything, that all life started in Africa, but now we focusing on this Mediterranean, where the Europeans actually came out of darkness. But the Christian community, this is all started in religion of the church. It took up on a whole nother different light, up on even the disciples. There's no one that knew Jesus. Nobody in the Bible wrote directly from Jesus. Even the apostles that supposed to be the disciples of John, Mark, they wrote their book 56, almost 80 years after Jesus died. It does, these things they won't tell you for the simple fact because they only utilize the Bible as the only resource that you can go to, what the Bible say. But there's other books outside of the Bible that's actually older than the Bible. If the Bible's supposed to be the word of God, it's supposed to be the original and the oldest text in the world. But then if God is all loving, all powerful, why is the world in so much chaos at this particular time? Because we are not listening to God. We're following man. Remember, slaves. If that's who you are, then claim the title. If that's what you want to be, obey your earthly master. I feel like there's no one on earth that is above me. Now, I'm not the greatest person in the world, but I'm me. And God made me uniquely. I'm who I am. And everybody should feel that way about themselves, period. But I still love we all are connected in some way. I'm just refusing to continue to allow this lie, this disbelief, this deceit, this no nonsense crap that we done been put through because of lies and deceit. bondage. And we all been bonded. Our minds been bonded. Slavery, serfdom, a state of being bound usually by compulsion as of law. You have to work. You have to make a living. You have to do this. We complaining about homelessness right now. What choice do they have when you have a country that don't care? You have to pay for everything you need. Now it's amazing how you take someone else's property and make them pay for it. If that ain't straight gangster, that ain't nothing but what a person do in prison. If I give you $100 bun, you gonna owe me whatever. But that's exactly what the game is. So anybody that did the game, even they going to prison or they getting locked up, you learned it from the best. You learned it from the same people that put us up under the same conditions and then turn around and lock you up from doing the same thing they did. Does that make any sense? Slavery, serfdom. Historically, the two most prevalent types of legal bondage were serfdom and chattel slavery. More than 150 years after enslaved Africans and descendants were released from bondage through ratification of the 13th Amendment. Now, the 13th Amendment only said that you free until you mess up, until you go to jail. The slavery exception continued to permit exploitation of labor by incarcerated individuals. In the Thar Desert of Pakistan, generations of families are trapped in death bondage, forced to work for years in brick and kilns to repay loans from the kill's owner. This has been going on for centuries. But I really hope that you listen to me with an open mind and really look at it from a different perspective, because in order to be free, you have to free your mind from the bondage system that's containing us and keeping us in this mind frame that we are all in. Because when you actually sit down and think about it, we are billions of people against one government, and we keep allowing them to make laws that is unjust, and they keep getting over with no repercussion, and we are not responding. We're not responding as a people. We so individually involved in everything. They chasing from TikTok challenges to Instagram pages, utilizing a platform to spread gossip and nonsense when we need to be utilizing this platform to unite, come together, and wake up and learn the truth. Because this is not going to get any easier. So, in conclusion, the Black Unity co-founder Damon the Truth Davis, I wish you peace and blessings and great understanding. And may we bring into 2025, the new year, for us to be reawakened and take control of what's rightfully ours. That the time is now. Peace out.